Hey, what's going on, guys? Crobat for the win. Danza here today, and I'll be your host for Around the Rhyhorn. I'm privileged to be here today with our three panelists for today's show, Mr. Dallas Boy 1992, Mr. KReign, and Mr. K Lover 48. Introduce yourselves.
My name is Dallas Boy 1992. I was on Around the Rhyhorn last week, and it's a great privilege to be here again this week.
I'm KReign. I'm a writer for the GBA. I've been looking to get on the show for a little bit now, and I'm glad to be here.
I'm KReign 48. I've been doing some power rankings on my channel, and I'm happy to have this opportunity to be here.
Awesome. And I want to thank you all because you guys are all reserve members, and we really appreciate your contributions. It means a lot. So.
Thank you.
No problem.
Alrighty, so here's our introduction for the day. I'm going to say a phrase that relates to the GBA this week, and you're welcome to respond however you want. This week's word is hacks, a term seemingly fitting well for this week. Go ahead.
Just sorta. Yeah, I counted 4 game-changing hacks this week where if they don't happen, we have 4 different winners, which is the first in my experience in the GBA content and format. So that was just really interesting to see. And unfortunate to see because so many teams seemingly got robbed of wings because the RNG gods were just not in their favor that week.
Yeah, there's just so much hacks this week. Just so many different battles that have, you really don't. I mean, some of them, that they would have won. Some of them, you don't know how the battle would have turned out if the hacks hadn't happened. It's all really interesting. It's something that, sometimes I wish isn't in Pokemon, but also it's a part of Pokemon, and, you just have to deal with it and move on.
How I view hacks, it's pretty much part of the game. It does tend to cause a little salt, but not much you can do about it. But yeah, it definitely can be avoided in some manners by sacking a few things off. But in the GBA, hacks can be very, very crucial. So you're gonna have to play around that thing a little bit in the event of that situation.
Okay. Yeah, we've got 3 kind of similar but a little bit different takes on hacks. There you go. Alrighty, after a strong introduction, the first word. You guys are welcome to discuss, debate, do whatever you want with regards to these topics. We all know about the excessive game-changing hacks. We just talked about it. In your mind, would you essentially give wins to those who lost only due to hacks, or is a loss a loss?
That's kind of difficult to say. It really depends on the manner of the hacks for me, how game-changing it was. Cooper's hacks with the 10% T-Volt para, he deserved that sweep with Mega Charizard, but then again, he also got the Iron Head flinch that kept Aggron alive, so, it kind of evens out, but, the fact that he would have swept, I think Cooper deserved that win, but then there were some of them, the crit on Rose Raid that, was a roll anyways, and, I don't think it would have necessarily given that team a win. I don't think it would have necessarily changed the outcome.
Dallas?
I would like to address the little bit of hacks that Dan aka A-Drive got on Shady Penguin this week. There was a last-minute pair on my Lodic that pretty much sealed the game up, but Volcarona also scored a crit Fiery Dance on the Conkeldurr. So, would I pretty much give Dan the win? Yes, he got the win. Whatever way you got it. Nobody really deserved to lose that match. It pretty much could have gone either way, but hacks was definitely a relevant factor there.
I agree 100%. But like you said, I don't think that they should get wins because that's I'm not sure if it was stated, but random number generating in hacks is a part of Pokemon. You got to live with it. Sometimes you're going to benefit from it. Unfortunately, sometimes you're going to not benefit from it. So it's a part of Pokemon. You just have to deal with it.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, it's like the law of large numbers says that essentially you're going to be about equal in terms of hacks. So you're going to sometimes get hacks, you're going to sometimes lose to hacks. That's the nature of the law of large numbers and probability.
Absolutely.
Hopefully the hacks is done after this week.
Oh, that's my hope.
That would be great.
Hopefully it just gets it out of the way. And just because a few people lost a few games to the hacks does not define their season, or at least it
Definitely.
shouldn't. I mean, Tup beat John 1-0 off of a Salmon's crit off Crocodiles, but that doesn't define John's season so far. I mean, he only has a -2 differentials, and he can definitely come back.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
and we
the
could
thing about all the hacks.
go ahead.
All the hacks that were happened basically just resulted in 1-0 wins. So like it wasn't super game changing on differential side.
True. Okay, you guys set with talking about hacks? You ready to move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
Ready?
Okay. And this is kind of on a similar note, but it's more of a specific one. How about Crimson's defeat over Cooper? No one expected it to happen. In your opinions, is it tainted by hacks, or do you think Crimson played well enough to win and was just fortunate to get hacks? Keep in mind the Ironhead flinch on Clefable. Just so maybe it was the T-Bolt para was more even than we think. Keep all that in mind. What are your thoughts?
I still think Cooper deserved that sweep, but yes, like the Ironhead flinch was also a factor. Like once he didn't get that sweep, or did that happen after or before? I don't remember. But anyways, like I wouldn't necessarily call the hacks evening out just because like one is a sweep and the other is getting like Aggron ended up with 2 kills and 1 death. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The T-Bolt pair on Mega Charizard X definitely mattered a whole heck of a lot more than the Ironhead flinch on Clefable. But I'm definitely surprised by this result, because as you pretty much know from the last week that I did this, I did not give Crimson a very good shot in this match, but he proved me wrong, so I have to give props to that. Albeit it was to a little bit of hacks. Crimson pulled it out of the hat. So, props.
Yeah, I'm gonna give all the credit. Sorry, I'm gonna give all the credit in the world to Crimson because of how he not only played the game but prepared for Cooper. He had a couple things that Cooper probably wasn't expecting to see, and he played a very effective game plan. And he gave him a shot to win, which is all you can do. And then the RNG just finished it out for him, unfortunately.
Well, that's a couple different perspectives on that. That's good. Good to get some depth among the Around the Rhyhorn crew.
Definitely.
Any last remarks about Crimson over Cooper?
I pretty much said my piece.
I think that this is just the first step in Crimson's thing. This is the only second game he's ever played in this format, and he's already like toppled arguably the best player in the format. So I think we can see big things from him in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll be a point of discussion in the next few weeks, or at least in the future. That's for sure. If he can keep this up, no doubt. Alrighty, next round. It's a new round. Be a coach. I should probably explain this very briefly since this is a very new round. Okay, the idea of this round is to pretend that the panelists are coaches in the league, and I want to hear what they would do differently in hopes of attaining more success, whether that be on a week-by-week basis or a long-term goal basis. And I'm just interested to hear their thoughts, and maybe you guys are too. I hope you are. Okay, so we're going to start. Dallas, how would you turn around the Sawsbucks?
If I'm the Sussbox, I would probably do a little bit better job at predicting. This week, Steve brought Landorus Team, Mega Gardevoir, Donphan, Latios, Suicune, and Electros. I think in place of Donphan, since he already has a Defogger in the form of Latios, I definitely would have brought a Safety Goggles Arcanine, a bulky variant with Will-O-Wisp, Flamethrower, Morning Sun, and Toxic. Hank's team doesn't really appreciate Arcanine too much, as it can intimidate stuff and whatnot. And the Toxic on the Alomomola would have been excellent, but then again, he did have Electros to deal with that. But Arcanine with some safety goggles definitely would have been a much better pickup than Donphan in a few perspectives. Pretty much from there, I think Steve's team is fine as it is, and no further comments.
Alrighty. So, KReign, how would you turn around the Long Island Reggie Rockies?
That's a tough one. I mean, he's got a very good team. He's got a great wall core. He's got a lot of Pokemon that can do a lot of good things. I just think he's got to work on making that sure that they work. Mega Altaria, for instance, I think should be the best Mega in the format. It's got such a unique typing. It's the only Dragon Fairy in the format, and it has so many different sets that you can run effectively. So that in itself gives him a major leg up on the competition. I would use Blaziken more effectively, if that makes any sense. He's a good Pokemon without speed boost, and he's just got to make sure he takes advantage of it. Magnezone is a great Pokemon in this format because he can trap stuff. Trapping is such an underused potential in this format. So if I'm Nips, I want to try and take advantage of that as much as possible. And then Hawlucha is really underrated. It's got, a unique typing. That's the thing that Nips has working for him. He's got a lot of unique typings. So that makes it difficult to plan for because his opponents can't know for sure what type of Mon he's running and like what they can bring to counter them.
Okay. So, obviously you've got a lot of thoughts on the Regirockies. Dallas had a couple remarks on the Sawsbucks. Okay, Parker, how would you turn around the San Francisco Giants?
I think the main thing is just not letting the fact that they're 0-2 keep them down. Like, they only lost to teams that are really, really talented, Miguel and Hank. So I think they're much better than people are giving them credit for. They just, aren't as good as the top contenders in the league right now. I think as long as they keep their head up and go into every week trying as hard as they can definitely get some wins. I don't think anything really needs to be changed with how they're playing or their team. I really like everything about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Beginning of the season, I still like their partial rain team. So, okay. All right, this is a collective one. This is, I think, the biggest one and the one people want to know most. All three of you. How would you turn around the New Orleans Pelipers? Go in the same order as I asked you initially. So Dallas first.
I think I'm fine with the New Orleans Pelipers. They just had a few unfortunate breaks, so if I'm John, I just completely relax. Just forget about the first 2 weeks. It's a new season. Just keep going at it.
I think that John has, like everybody's saying, he's got a scary team. There's no if, then, or buts about it. He's got a very scary team that can do a lot of different things to you. If I'm John, I just gotta try and find that Season 2 mindset that he had, where he was playing really safe, like, he had a really good battle strategy that would constantly get him wins or keep him in contention of games. And I'm not even sure if I would do that, because, like, he's been in every game he's been in. He had a shot to win both weeks. He just got a couple of things wrong on his end. So, like, there's not a lot I would do to change, but probably just, like, relax a little bit, not try and stress about wins, then just go out there and have fun.
Yeah, I agree with everything that they said. Just, keep playing well. Don't let this start of the season get you down. And we saw in John's video the other day that, he is really serious about coming back and not letting this keep him down.
Yeah, he seems like he's really focusing on finishing what they started, so that's at least he's mentally not out of it. And you gotta hope that he doesn't mentally check out if he wants to continue.
Absolutely, yeah. He's got a scary team. There's no if, then, or buts about it. Like, Mega Venusaur and Black Kyurem are monsters. So he's got the horses to take him the distance. He's just gotta make sure he uses them effectively.
He also has Entei.
Oh yeah. So I'm a big fan of Entei, as you know. I got it last season. I received enough flack for it, and it did work, so that's all I care about. All right.
In 2007, the New York Giants in the NFL started off 0-2 and won the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure that John can do the same.
Yeah.
There's only 8 games left, but I talked about
Plenty of time.
John on my power rankings. You're welcome to go check that out. I had a discussion about where I think he'll go. I think if he wins this week, he'll be going up a lot more. But if he goes to 0-3, I don't know. I'd be sweating bullets. We'll talk about that later because I actually have that as a question later. So, all right.
Spoilers.
Yes. Next round, out of bounds. Alrighty. A big controversy this week surrounds the showdown calculator. Steve didn't know about Intimidate being factored into the calculation, and it cost him a lot. Actually, all 6 of his Pokemon, to be exact. All right, I got a string of questions that I'd like to hear you guys talk about. 1. Do you think Showdown should auto-factor Intimidate? 2. In spite of the 5-0 loss, would you consider this a good game by Steve? And 3. Had the damage calc issue not happened, could Steve have won?
All
Go
right.
ahead.
I'm gonna ask you to repeat the questions as we go. Yes, I don't think Showdown should incorporate Intimidate automatically because there's got to be so many situations where you have an Intimidate Pokemon in already and they switch into you, so like you're not like the Intimidate's not factored there. Obviously, that if the Pokemon has -1, you should just incorporate the -1 to the stat pool on the Showdown calculator, or else because like I know I've run a damage calc with Intimidate and I've added that -1 because they're intimidated. So like, there's no reason for the calc to do it for me.
And the last 2 questions: would you consider it a good game by Steve? And had the damage calc issue not happened, could Steve have won?
Yes, as I wrote about in my article, I think that Steve played a phenomenal game. In fact, outplaying Hank to the point where Mega Pinsir came in, and even then, he made a good switch based on the calculation that he received. In retrospect, obviously, there's not like he made the wrong play because of a calc miscalc, because of a miscalc. There's nothing to be ashamed of there. If I were Steve and like he realizes that that's how the damage calc worked, I would put. I'm sure I've talked to him about it, and he said he would have just left Donphan in there, kept ice sharding, and then sent Lando in after Donphan was killed, and then that would have put the Mega Pinsir at -1, and it would have been in the exact same situation, only with the calc actually being right.
Okay. Parker?
Can you say the first question again?
No problem. Do you think the Showdown calculator should auto-factor Intimidate?
Yeah, I'm okay with it doing that because, like, it basically just makes for quicker calcs. Like, if you have an Intimidate Pokemon out, you don't have to set it to -1. And if it, for some reason, doesn't get intimidated, you can just change it by, like, giving a +1 or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I think you just need to look over the calc whenever something doesn't get intimidated and make sure you change it to where it'll be good. And that's something that Steve didn't do and should have.
Okay. In spite of the loss, do you think it was a good game? And had the damage calc not happened, do you think Steve would have won or could have won?
I don't know, to be honest. You know, Donphan had that ice shard. I feel like like Dallas said, he should have brought Arcanine. I'm not sure if it could live, like, not get 2-hit KO'd by Pinsir, but if so, that would be a good thing to bring, a defensive set to check Mega Pinsir if it can't get 2-hit KO'd. You know, it has the Flamethrower for super effective and Willow for burn. You know, as long as it can live attacks, basically, it can really, you know, make Pinsir switch out, you know, give Steve an opportunity to set up his rocks later and, you know, make sure it can't keep switching back in. And whether he could have won, it all depends on how each player played. You know, that Mega Pinsir sweep came fairly early in the match. If that hadn't happened, there still was a lot of match left, and it's really hard to say what direction it would have gone.
Fair enough. Good response. All right, Dallas, you're up.
I think they should still continue using the auto-intimidate calculations on the Pokemon Showdown calculator. But if you want to calc in a Mega Pinsir at +2, and instead of just going up to +2, just amp it up to +3 so it does show the calculation for +2. And at +2, Mega Pinsir, I did run a calc at 252, 240 Impish nature at level 50. Mega Pinsir definitely would have gotten the OHKO with a return. But yeah, Steve definitely played a very good game, especially with his Electros playing around his Regenerator core. But it was just up until that moment with the Mega Pinsir where it just pretty much went downhill.
So do you think that Steve could have won if things had gone differently?
As KReign said, if he did bring in Donphan to just Ice Shard away at Mega Pinsir and just leave it in as death fodder, Steve probably could have had a better shot at winning. Mm-hmm. Could he have won? Probably. With all the heck that ran around this week, I don't know what could have happened.
Yeah, I guess no one can say for certain. Yeah, you guys have a little bit of difference in opinions here. That's kind of cool. Got a little bit of a disagreement on some fronts. Alrighty. Any last remarks about the Showdown calculator or Steve?
Like Dallas said, I ran the calc, and the return is 95% chance to Oko without rocks. So you throw in rocks, and it's a guaranteed Oko.
Okay. There you go. So, in a lot of ways, I feel like maybe, I mean, if he had stayed in, of course, maybe he could have run Rock Slide non-fan or Stone Edge non-fan. You know, it's just something I probably, if I were playing Hank, I probably would have done that. Okay. We ready for the lightning round? 30 seconds of fun per response?
Let's do it.
All right. So, at last, we have the lightning round. I just gotta read the full rules. You all have 30 seconds to take a stance or agree or disagree with a statement I make. I emphasize these are not my opinions, but rather topics I think people would be interested to listen to you guys discuss about. Let's jump in. All right, you guys have the order. So Parker, you're starting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hank will use Mega Pinsir to 6-0 Cooper this week. Go.
I think Cooper is too good of a player to let that happen. Mega Pinsir is really threatening, but overall I think the match will be closer than that.
You still got 20 seconds.
Yeah. That's basically all I have to say though. Like I expect that match to be really close. I'm really excited for Hank's midnight upload. I think that'll be a good battle.
All right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Huzzah. All right. Next up.
If Mega Pinsir is played correctly, then Mega Pinsir can definitely pull off a sweep. But Cooper is a pretty talented battler in the format. But it's pretty much how Hank plays. If Hank plays around Mega Pinsir well, or trying to get it to weaken all of Cooper's stuff to pull off a sweep, Mega Pinsir can definitely pull and work. I mean, we are talking about the Pokemon that has the highest kill to death, or the highest amount of kills in the whole GBA format throughout 4 seasons.
There you go. All right, time's up.
All right,
KReign?
I'm ready to go. I'm going to take a book or some words out of Daniel Bryan's mouth and say, no, no way is Mega Pinsir going to sweep the Utah Jasmine. Cooper has 4 not very effective Mons against Mega Pinsir, and add to that, Cooper, as we all know, loves bulky Mons. There's no way that Cooper's going to allow his team to be swept by a thing that relies solely on offensive power. If it were to happen, which it's not going to happen, Hank would have to play extremely well and predict Cooper basically perfect.
All right, perfect timing. All righty. Next one. All right, Parker, you're up. Miguel will suffer his first loss against against Tup, who's on a 1-game winning streak. Go.
That's a tough one. Basically, I'd like to see Tup win, but I think Miguel is too good of a player to let that happen. That wager that's going on is pretty interesting. The coffee versus gazpacho. So I think Miguel has too many threats like Victini and Thundurus and Mega Lopunny, Hydreigon. I think they'll just, Tup won't be able to compete with all that.
Okay, perfect timing. Time's up. Dallas?
I'm actually going to predict a 4-0 into Miguel's favor this week. Bookmark me on this one. Miguel is a very good battler, and pretty much has the tools to plow through Tup's team. Tup does have a very balanced and very good team, but I don't think with Miguel's skill sets and the threats that he's running, like Thundurus, Incarnate, Mega Lopunny, and Victini, I think Miguel's going to pretty much overwhelm Tup this week and pretty much pull out a 4-0.
All right. Awesome. Good timing. All right. KReign, you're up.
All right. Tup's main threats are physical attackers. Then you got Mega Mamoswine, or Mega Alakazam, sorry, to contribute on the specialist end. So basically, all the Real Amarilla have to do is take care of a physical wall. And what do you know? They had like 4 of them. So I feel very confident that Real Amarilla will come away with the win. And I am looking forward to seeing Tup eat that gazpacho, because I feel like that is going to be a very, very entertaining video.
Perfect timing. You guys are nailing the 30 seconds really well. All right. Next up, Parker. John will go 0-3, losing to the Reggie Rockies. Go.
No, no way. John is ready to come back with a vengeance. He's not going to let this team beat him. One of them is is going to have to go 0-3, and I think it's going to be the Reggie Rockies. I can't see John possibly losing this battle. He just has too good of a team, and the Reggie Rockies just haven't been playing amazingly recently.
Okay. And time's up. Dallas?
This is the part of the season where I see the New Orleans Pelicans just turning around their season. I mean, there was a preseason match where the Long Island Red Rockies 4-0'd the New Orleans Pelicans off of a extreme speed roll from Entei, but I don't think that that's going to happen this time around. John's definitely going to win this match. I'm expecting a 3-0 in John's favor, but I guess we'll see.
Alrighty. Perfect timing. KReign?
Alright. Every week, John's going to have the better team offensively. It just matters how you match up against him. And in this case, I don't think Nips matches up very well against John at all. So in order for the Long Island Reggie Rockies to have a very good shot to win, they're going to have to play phenomenally and play at a level that we have yet to see them play at this year. So until I see them play at that level, I'm going to stick with my gut and know that John can play Pokemon very effectively. So I'm going to predict John to win. I'm going to say it's going to be closer than a lot of people are going to say. I'm going to say 2-0 in John's favor, but still definitely a John win.
All right. Awesome. Okay, next topic. This is about this week now. Shady would have definitely, and I stress definitely, beat Dan had it not been for the crit and the para. Parker?
Definitely is a strong word. I think that Conkeldurr could have taken down A-Drive's wall core and definitely given Shady a chance to win, but I will not say definitely. A-Drive definitely has a strong team and is playing really strong. I think without the hacks, it would have been close, and I think Shady could have won, or Dan could have won. It could go either way.
Okay. Good timing, because time's up. Dallas?
Shady did bring that Foresight Conkeldurr, which definitely would have helped with the Chansey Mega Sableye core and completely breaking it in half. But if not for that crit Fiery Dance from Volcarona, Conkeldurr would have been pretty nicely in the driver's seat, probably giving Shady maybe a 2 or 3-0 victory. But that's pretty much the thing with hacks. You can't predict it, and yeah, that's pretty much my 2 cents on that.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty, KReign?
I'm going to go a little more strongly, and I'm going to say yes, the New York Yankees definitely would have won had the Cats not happened. This is because Shady was able to steal Calm Minds and put him on Melodic, who's a naturally bulky mon, and then you give it a bunch of offensive prowess, it's going to go through your team. The only reason that it didn't sweep was because it got parried. And that's just unfortunate. And then, all right, let's say that somehow Dan manages to kill the Melodic. The crit Fiery Dance is so huge, it's unpredictable. It's unmentionable.
Okay. Good timing, everyone. We're doing so far so good. One left. All right, this is kind of an interesting one. Tup created his own luck when he got that crit because of great planning. Yeah, I touched upon superstition. Go, Parker.
That's an interesting topic. Basically, you have to be in a good enough position to the point where hacks can be the deciding factor. So yes, in a way, Tup did create his own luck by getting into that position where hacks could matter. And against a player like John, that's really a tough thing to do. And so, yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, yeah, time's up now anyways. All right, Dallas?
Tup did not create his own luck. Yes, the RNG was a little bit in his favor with that Mence crit, but well, I don't really think he created his own luck. The RNG pulled it out of the hat for him, and yeah, that's basically it.
Alrighty, I'll just stop it a little early then. Okay, KReign, go.
I believe in that if you put in the effort, then the world will help you out. So while I agree that Tup definitely made the world like him by putting in such a great preparation for this team. John also put in arguably the same amount of preparation, if not a little bit more. So I don't think that Tup was able to manufacture his luck based on that. It just came on to the fact that the gods loved Tup this week, and they didn't like John for the past 2 weeks, and that's basically what it came down to.
Alrighty. That is right on time. Alrighty, guys. That is actually all I had for today on Around the Rhyhorn. We've broken a half hour, so I think we've done pretty well today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bunch of fun.
Yeah. Do you guys have any closing remarks? Anything?
No closing remarks.
I'm looking
Other
forward
than
to
it
this
was a
week.
great episode.
I'm looking forward to this week. There's so many great matches. It's gonna be a really fun week to watch in the GBA this week.
Especially Hank versus Cooper. That'll be a good one.
Hank versus Cooper probably going to be the match of the week.
We'll see what happens, certainly. It's going to be out tomorrow, so...
At midnight.
And that was my phone. I just got a text. But that's okay. Alright, so... Glad we could do this with all of you. That will conclude our second edition of Around the Rhyhorn for Season 4, Week 2 of the GBA. We're on a 6-day, 23.5-hour break. I'll put a straw poll in the description for the panelists you most agree with. Be sure to vote. Thanks for listening, guys, and peace out.